good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Thursday.
Is that what day it is?
It was a big day yesterday for the royal family and their heir to the throne, but we're going to talk about something else first.
The next heir.
The next, what? Oh, well, yeah, their next heir. The future is what they like to call him. Anyway, last week it came out that Samantha Markle has actually filed papers to sue Meghan Markle for defamation over claims that she made in her Oprah interview. The filing reads like a 14-year-old wrote it. And Mom, who is actually a lawyer, she can say that. I have to always say I'm not a lawyer. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. It's silly and embarrassing. It's like you have a fight with your sister and you make it into a lawsuit. It's ridiculous.
Well, it's very like I haven't been on TV.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to find out.
Pay attention to.
I keep trying to find out when's the last time she's actually been on like a TV program, and I can't figure if someone else has that information. It's very like look at me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in the United States, we don't do enough to prevent frivolous lawsuits like this.
Yeah.
And it seems pretty frivolous.
It does seem frivolous. And defamation may be one of those things, and I don't know, and I didn't look it up. I'm sorry, because I didn't know what we were talking about. You may be able to get attorney's fees. I don't know. But unlike in the UK, we don't have a loser pays rule here for lawsuits, so you can bring any nonsense that you want to bring usually, and not suffer much in the way of consequences.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it seems, you read this, and I thought you corrected me. I was like, this is really dumb because Meghan's lawyers are very expensive, and if she has any possibility of getting lawyer fees, this is a very stupid ploy for attention. But then you're like, man, I don't think so.
Well,
Which
yeah,
is dumb.
I don't know if she can get attorney's fees, and plus, a judgment's only as good as your ability to collect on it, and if the person you have a judgment against doesn't have money to pay, you can renew the judgment forever and hope they win the lotto, but you're not going to be able to get, blood from a turnip or whatever the saying is.
Blood from a turnip. Well, and it's, again, she went with some, bargain lawyer out of a strip mall, and it reads like a bargain lawyer out of a strip mall wrote it. Have you ever worked in a strip mall? I don't I feel bad.
I have never worked out of a strip mall now, as a lawyer.
Oh. Where did you
I guess I've never worked in a strip mall. I've worked in a regular mall.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But not as a lawyer. You're not a mall lawyer either.
I'm not a mall or a strip mall lawyer. And I'm inactive currently.
But anyway.
So don't come after me for pretending to be a lawyer. My license isn't active.
Someone said Meghan Markle's dad's side of the family is the most dad side to ever dad side. And it freaks me out because I'm going to be on the dad side.
What do you mean?
Because I'm having a boy. I'm going to be the dad side at one point. And it feels like the dad side always kind of sucks.
I don't know if that's always true, but...
Freaks me out.
I wouldn't know.
You had two girls.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not on the dad's side, but I have a dad's side? I don't know.
You do. How was your dad's side? Papa, they were cool.
They were okay.
All right. We're not totally
screwed. They're not. I don't know why we're putting one.
Okay, and then the big news is not the big news, of course. Prince William and Kate Middleton were at a Ukrainian center yesterday, and in quotes, he's quoted as saying this is very alien in Europe.
Yeah.
And now the question is, did he also allude to kind of Asia and Africa? There's this whole blow up. They just released this 20-second potato quality footage where it's obviously in from mid conversation. And they haven't released the full one, and there's better quality video of the same event.
And I guess it's because to solve the problem, they'd rather just have him be stupid than stupid and the R word?
Well, but I would argue that saying this is alien in Europe, and he puts emphasis on those words, is
well, yeah,
is
yeah, but
still
it's less blatantly.
It's less blatantly racist, but the thought is still there.
But it also makes him look completely stupid.
Yes,
because it's not alien to Europe.
No,
that I would bet if you went back over the last couple thousand years, there's probably been war in Europe
every year
more often than there has not been.
Well, and someone was pointing out that in his lifetime, his mom went to Bosnia. Like,
right.
there have been conflicts
and not
in
like
Europe.
in his lifetime when he was 6 months old. Like in his lifetime, the month before she died, when he was like 16.
Yes.
So within his conscious memory.
Yes, should be. And I think that's what he studied in college. Is like some.
Okay,
I know, but still, like that's like me. I mean,
well, but that's what I mean. They're apparently more willing to make him look stupid than they are to have the R word so blatantly apparent.
But I again, they released this. So okay, let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday was funny because he was dragged by like everybody, including like Jake Tapper, who has millions of. It just. Again, I think the more this gets into, like, consciousness that this guy isn't, like, a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he repeatedly shows us that. Like, this isn't the first time he said something racist.
Right.
Sorry. Call the police. R word. He's doubled down on comments that, it's Africans' fault. They're having too many babies. It just... He has a certain worldview, and he keeps letting you into it. And, again, I think the more these larger accounts outside of kind of tabloid culture talk about the fact that once you get to know William, he's not like a nice guy, it might change a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, there certainly seemed to be a lot more negative reporting on this yesterday than seems to ordinarily be the case.
Well, because people have already screwed up and waded into this exact conversation. I mean, how many reporters have put their foot in their mouth and said something very R-word and ignorant by saying this exact same thing. Oh, we never see this here. Yeah. Oh, we're used to seeing this in Afghanistan, not with white people. Oh my God. Like, that just happened.
Yeah.
In the stupid little potato video they put out, he's like, I've been watching the news. And it's like, haven't you seen these reporters basically get slammed for saying the same thing?
No, because he really hasn't been watching the news.
I know, he probably doesn't.
He probably doesn't. This is all performance art.
Yeah.
But not very artistic.
So anyway, he decides he's going to wade into this, and he says whatever he says. And it was kind of nice to see. It was nice to see pushback and pretty direct, like. Most of the bigger accounts weren't using the R word, but it was very, at least implied of like, this is an R word ignorant thing to say. At the very least, it's stupid.
Right. Well, yeah.
Stupid thing
and
to
that's
say.
The way they seem to be directing, to stem the damage. It seems to be, and I think what they're also realizing, which we've talked before, they should have realized this before this, but not having Harry and Meghan around, certainly leaves them a lot more wide open to, because there are going to be some things where they can't just blame it on Harry and or Meghan.
So I was joking yesterday that the whole thing would be like, it was Meghan's duty to like educate the R word out of William, because that's what they do when white men are racist. Oh my gosh, this video's in trouble. Is they go, it was actually the person of color's job to like educate, because if they were just more educated, they wouldn't be so R-word. Mom's rolling her eyes. And then some deranged account literally said that thing overnight, like, oh well, if Meghan was a good sister-in-law, she would have, educated
made him not sound like some good old colonialist boy.
He sounds. I said we bring our dad's side into it. Or I was saying yesterday, whenever he talks about his like worldview, he sounds like my 80-something-year-old grandfather, who has a very interesting. But he's 40 years old, and whenever he talks about it, he sounds like he's a very old white man with very dated ideas. Which is concerning from someone who is turning 40 years old.
Yeah. And probably illustrates the bubble in which he has lived his whole life.
Yes. So anyway, I find it, so he got dragged through the streets yesterday. And then today, overnight, because of the time difference, they again come out with this 20-something seconds, looks like it was shot on a Nokia phone, starts mid-conversation clip that supposedly exonerates him.
Right.
Which I would argue it does not. A, you don't know what happened in the seconds beforehand. You can't really understand most of what the conversation is until he gets to the part where he says, "This is very alien to see in Europe."
Yeah. And alien's an interesting choice of words,
which
too.
Makes you kind of feel like it was rehearsed. Like, maybe he does talk like that and he's up his own ass enough. Maybe that is his normal vernacular. But that word seems weird.
Well, yeah, but I don't know why you'd rehearse it with that word, because that just others everything. Why do you use a verb that's sort of othering? I mean, when something like unusual would make the same point and not, use a word that's often used to other people.
Well, I don't know, but I think maybe if you honestly subscribe to that world, like if you believe what you're saying.
Is he getting PR advice from a 90-year-old?
Maybe, he might be. You laugh, but he might be.
Maybe. I mean, it just seems weird to me. It's a very strange.
It's a word choice that is interesting.
Yeah.
And then he puts inflection on Europe. And so it's like this whole thing, well, in the video, he didn't explicitly talk about Africa or Asia. And it's like, okay.
By exclusion,
But he looked directly at someone's face and said, "This is very alien for Europe." Yeah. It's whatever.
Very strange.
It's strange, and it's, again, so he's very gaffe prone. He's the one who also said, "Oh, COVID's way overblown," and "Oh, this is being hyped by the media," and tried to chuckle with his, he tries to make this small talk, which is now again what they're saying. It's just locker room talk. All men talk like this. All men are secretly very stupid and probably R-word. But seriously, a royal reporter was like, so there's two royal reporters that aren't white as hell. And one is still in the fold, and the other one, Omid, is not in the fold. And they attack him endlessly because they're our word. So one of the white reporters was like, "Oh, Omid's whipping up all this over small talk," and it's like, well, what does that mean?
Plus, small talk is what you have in private with someone at a cocktail party. It's not like remarks you're making that are clearly for public dissemination and your opinion on a global disaster unfolding before our eyes. That's not small talk.
Well, and I think, again,
under any even stretchy definition.
Well, and again, it feels like every time he tries to get chummy with someone on camera, whether it's EMS workers who he's telling, "Oh, you guys know COVID is overblown," or he recorded this bro podcast, which that's a whole different discussion about all these podcast bros have now, where he joked about I think Asian delivery driver as being frisked and being face down, and they thought it was just the funniest thing, or whether saying Africans are having too many babies and then doubling down on those statements even after being told, "Hey, that's what the hell."
And saying Africans are having too many babies while your white wife is pregnant with your third child,
and you're a member of the British royal family, are you crazy? You think that as a member of the British royal family, as a member of any European royal house, saying the problems in Africa and their environment are because they are having too many babies is insane.
Yeah.
Just blatantly R-word.
Yeah.
And stupid. It's so stupid. Yeah. But I was saying yesterday, I've never met an R-word person who was a smart person.
Well, I think
they go together.
They do.
They flock
together.
I mean,
a lot of it is lack of education.
But, well, okay, he can't use that excuse.
Well, sure he can. Well, he won't use that excuse. But, you know, I mean, really, do we think he, did he have to go to class? Did he
No.
get graded fairly on tests? Did, I mean,
That's true.
how much of an he was physically at university?
We
Did
think.
he, maybe, did he, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a very diligent student, but I suspect maybe not.
And again, I want to make this point that every time he goes off script, he seems to say something that is deeply problematic.
Yeah.
And they don't have Harry and Meghan as a shield anymore. And again, this video, which of course all the Royal Rota have this morning, and we've talked about that, they put out boilerplate things. They all get the same message, even though they work for different publications and they send it out. You see the invisible contract working here this morning, or for us this morning. And again, it just brings up that question of, or not brings up the question, it just points out again the idea that they couldn't have done a damn thing for Meghan Markle is blatantly untrue.
Yeah. Well, plus how inept are they? I mean, he's had the better part of 20 years as an adult after school, and isn't the whole sort of purpose of his being to prepare for becoming king? And in 20 years, they couldn't somehow teach him. I mean, even if he's naturally uncomfortable in public, even if he's naturally not a good speaker, even if he's naturally prone to off-the-cuff gaffes, they've had 20 years to, try to
Beat
fix
it out
that.
of him.
Yeah, I mean, and...
Well, I've said this on Twitter before. I think they did William a lot of disservices. And I think a boy who was already prone to get what he wanted had a tragedy happen to him, so he was and they should have beaten some of this stuff out of him before he was an adult. But that would also imply that he gives a shit. I mean, again, I just go back to this thing. You're given all this money and all these perks, and you basically have a job that is designed where you get to help people, where you get to go and you get to channel your celebrity into helping other people. And that is all anyone expects of you.
And you mess it
up. And you seem to not give a shit. I mean, how much... it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
They're tone deaf beyond... I mean, this might not be new news, but I just saw it this morning.
Yeah.
In the midst of, global inflation and rising prices and people struggling and war, that they're unveiling a £250 million new royal yacht.
I know.
Which,
for Prince Philip, who's dead.
I mean, it's if that really was just announced, it's the most tone-deaf timing. And doing it at all is... If there's £250 million excess to spend on a royal yacht, that money could be better directed elsewhere.
Well, look at what they just did. The Taliban beat them on a statement for Ukraine.
Yeah.
And before they said anything about Ukraine, they announced all these tours.
Yeah.
And it's just like, again, you are given all this money, all these perks, to do very little. And what you're expected of is basically to try and help other people.
Yeah.
And neither of them give a single shit.
And where there's global manhunts for all these oligarch yachts and people are seizing them and people are realizing how these people have just exorbitant, ridiculous amounts of money and all this, then you announce your own brand new £250 million yacht.
So when you ask
ridiculous.
If he's getting PR advice from a 90-year-old, I laugh, but it's who is advice? We ask this question all the time. Is it bad advice or are they unwilling to listen to good advice? Both. I don't know. It is probably both. But again, I feel some not vindication. I wish it again just feels like William and Kate have gotten to skate through doing almost nothing, not giving a single shit about anything, and then they used Harry and Meghan as much as they could to get away with whatever they wanted. And yesterday gives me a little glimpse of hope that someday they might get called out on it.
Well, it is a little funny too that now when are they going to the Caribbean?
Like a week from now, less.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the look I'd want going on that tour, but I guess they make their own
I think I do. I mean, I think, yeah.
They, you know, I mean, it already was a bad idea, and they weren't super welcome. I can't imagine they're going to be more welcome now.
I want to know when they're coming back to the United States.
They're not anytime soon.
I know.
They're not. There's no way. They won't risk that.
I wish, I said this in a tweet yesterday, I wish that we would take some national, I mean, I in my tweet yesterday, I said, you know, they snarked about Meghan's race first, but then the second thing they labeled her as was an American, and they made fun of her for it, and I wish some of our investigative journalists would follow up on that energy.
Well, and that probably goes, I mean, it's just more of the R-word stuff. You know, they'll go somewhere where the majority black population doesn't want them, but they're not going to risk coming to the United States and having, you know, white people criticize them, which is what would happen.
I'd hope so.
I mean, I think that's part of the, you know, getting dissed by some island country to them is like a, you know, they think they're better than that, I think. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what they think. I don't know. But, you know, I think it's a little bit more challenging for them in their minds to overcome.
Yeah. Well, of course it is.
And it's more, you know, obviously the United States is a big country with lots of worldwide influence, and as much as they might want to make fun of us, I think they, you know, seek our attention and approval. And
oh yeah, that's absolutely true. And royalists are up their own butts when they go, oh, they don't care. They obviously. I have to make one more point, and then we got to be done because I got to. Car oil is getting changed. Yeah. Is again, I think they have benefited from a lot of apathy and his just being Diana's son, and people are like, oh, that's fine, yay. But anytime the curtain gets pulled back on William and to a lesser degree Kate, we go back to tours. Australia has told them not to come. Wales, Scotland, now Jamaica. And these are supposed to be the stars of the royal family, the younger heirs with the young kids. They have been told not to come.
Yeah.
Now, multiple times. Now, William has been recorded saying ignorant R-word things more than once.
I think other countries are starting to clue in on the fact that this is not the savior of the royal family.
This is not the savior of the royal family.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, the close by countries are probably just over the whole thing for lots of reasons, economically, everything else. Yeah. But, you know, I think countries the world over with, you know, maybe less, you know, fewer historical ties, or maybe want to rid themselves of those historical ties, are, you know, also getting over it.
Yeah.
All right. Here's my final point.
Okay. What?
We're really not focusing our whole lives on the British royal family when there's horrible
my gosh,
things going on in
they
the world.
know, Mom. Horrible things are going on in the world. This is a distraction.
Particularly.
This is a distraction.
It is a distraction.
It's silly.
It is silly.
In the grand scheme of things, well, I mean, race, R-word is not silly.
Right.
And the idea that someone who has a modicum of power, or will have a modicum of power, tends to say very R-word things
in 2022.
In 2022 is a problem. But there are very serious things going on.
I mean, privately, it would be a problem too. But the fact that he's so...
Well, if he says this in public, what does he say in private?
Exactly.
That's the question.
And he's so, you know, out of touch, out
and
of tune that he says it.
And he has a whole press corps who will defend him till the end. In a supposedly free country, he has a PR press corps who will do anything to get him off of these charges of R-word and stupidity. That is serious, but it is less serious in the immediate than other stuff that's going on right now, but this serves as a distraction.
It does serve as a distraction. It's unfortunate that it can't just be a completely fluffy, happy distraction. It has to be a Prince William being an R-word distraction.
Yes.
They should just be fluffy and...
That's true.
You know.
But we don't get anything nice now, Mom.
That's apparently
even our distractions have to be...
Even distractions have to suck.
Yeah.
Because everything that happens...
Because everything sucks. Okay. Can we spin this a little bit? We hope you have a very good day, and despite everything going on.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week, and we will work on the message. Goodbye.
I'm sorry to be a downer. Bye.
Bye.